Hiya, it's Zombies, and welcome back to another Warrior Cats Ultimate Edition video. Sorry this video is so late, but in its lateness, it is probably going to be a long video, so sit back and enjoy. Welcome to part 3 of my Disabled Cat series. Today I'm going to be covering autism, epilepsy, and PTSD. Firstly, everything I say in this video will be based on my own personal research, so feel free to correct me on anything I said wrong. If you have suggestions for future topics or any criticisms, leave them down in the comments below. Now, let's get started. Autism has a very wide spectrum. MedicineNet states the 5 documented types of autism include Asperger's syndrome, Rett syndrome, childhood disintegrative disorder, Kanner syndrome, and PDD and OS. According to the CDC, ASD is a developmental disability caused by differences in the brain. Some people with ASD have known difference, such as genetic condition. Other causes are not yet known. Scientists believe there are multiple causes of ASD that act together to change the most common ways people develop. People with ASD may behave, communicate, interact, and learn in different ways from most other people. There's often nothing about how they look that sets them apart from other people. The abilities of people with ASD can vary significantly. For example, some people with ASD may have advanced conversation skills, whereas others may be nonverbal. According to the American Autism Association, some people with ASD need a lot of help in their daily lives. Others can work and live with little to no support. Some individuals are affected by noise, others by smells, textures, or even lights. It could be any number of things. Too much input may lead to becoming overwhelmed. Individuals on the autism spectrum meet with stressful social encounters on a regular basis. Of course, each person is unique, so they may experience more or less of this social confusion, but the stress can take its toll over the course of the day. Loud sounds, ticking from the clock, loud voices, harsh tones of voice, scary looking people, stern people, children screaming, babies crying, crowded conditions, bright lights, flashing lights, or many of these things together can cause a person with ASD to melt down or become overwhelmed. Now, all this information was gathered from personal research. I personally don't know anybody with autism, so it's hard to gauge how accurate any of this information is. So please give your own experience and or corrections, as I may not have gotten everything, or some things may be inaccurate. When I was researching autism in cats, I kept getting 2 answers for if cats can have autism. And I got both yes and no from the same website. So here's what the treetop said. No, their website said cats can and can't have autism. So there is no scientific evidence to suggest cats can have autism. However, cats can exhibit behaviors that are similar to those seen in humans with autism. Cats with, quote, autism often experience repetitive behaviors like pacing or spinning, excessive vocalization, and having trouble adapting to change. They may also display signs of anxiety, including hiding, avoiding human contact, and being extremely sensitive to external stimuli. If you notice any of these behaviors in your cat, it is important to take them to a vet for a thorough evaluation so they can receive appropriate treatment. It is important to note that not all cats with autism will exhibit the same signs or symptoms. Regular routines can help cats with autism feel more comfortable and less stressed. Providing plenty of enrichment toys, scratching posts, and pushes will also help keep them entertained and engaged in their environment. Additionally, providing your cat with a safe place to hide away from loud noises or other stimuli can be very beneficial in helping reduce their anxiety levels. So, in short, yes, cats can have autism, but with the right care and treatment, it is possible for them to lead a happy and fulfilled life. If you think your cat may have autism, it is important to take them for a thorough evaluation so they can receive appropriate treatment plan that is best suited to their needs. With proper diagnosis and care, cats with autism can still live a happy life. So, as you just heard me say, that was what the website said, and they said cats can and cats can't have autism. So, I'd say just take it how you will. A cat struggling with autism is likely to become a warrior. although they will face challenges depending on what your OC is triggered from. Your OC may be jumpy, sensitive to loud noises, uncomforted by certain textures, or they could just get overwhelmed very easily. It just depends on where your OC falls on the wide spectrum that is ASD. So do research on what you want your OC to look like, because the spectrum is so wide, it's harder to give advice while trying not to stereotype or put ASD into one box. Your OC could struggle with communicating with others. Give your OC a regular routine to follow, and if they break that routine, it can make them a bit anxious. Or maybe your OC could have a place that they felt safe, somewhere in camp, if they started to feel overwhelmed. For example, the medicine cat would let you sit somewhere in their den for a while, maybe even give you herbs like thyme to help you calm. Your OC might need assistance with some of their duties, or just simple everyday things. Like I said, it all depends on where your OC lands on the spectrum and how their autism affects them. Some tasks may seem more tedious or overwhelming to your OC. They might need adaptations to the ways they do certain things, but for the most part, their disability won't get in the way of them being a warrior or completing warrior duties. But do not disregard how they could act or how your OC having autism could affect them. Because autism has such a wide spectrum, it could be very hard to know how you should phrase actions or speech. So, my advice is like any other disabled OC, stray away from words and phrases that could disregard your OC's disability. Make your actions represent that, yes, sometimes your OC will struggle. The same thing goes with speech. Also, depending on how your OC is, they may struggle with communicating with their clanmates. Although, no two cats are the same. According to the Cleveland Clinic, epilepsy is a brain disease where nerve cells don't signal properly, which causes seizures. Seizures are uncontrolled bursts of electrical activities that change sensations, behaviors, awareness, and muscle movements. Although epilepsy can't be cured, many treatment options are available. Epilepsy is a chronic disease that causes repeated seizures due to abnormal electrical signals produced by damaged brain cells. A burst of uncontrolled electrical activity within brain cells causes a seizure. Seizures can include changes to your awareness, muscle control, sensations, emotions, and behavior. Healthcare providers classify epilepsies by their seizure type. Seizure categories are based on where they start in your brain, your level of awareness during a seizure, and by presence or absence of muscle movements. There are two major seizure groups. For one, focal onset seizures. Focal onset seizures start in one area or network of cells on one side of your brain. This seizure used to be called partial onset seizure. There are two types of focal seizures. Focal onset aware seizure means you're awake and aware during the seizure. Healthcare providers once called this a simple partial seizure. Symptoms may include changes in your senses, how things taste, smell, or sound. Changes in your emotions, uncontrolled muscle jerking, usually in arms or legs, seeing flashing lights, feeling dizzy, and having a tingling sensation. Focal onset impaired awareness seizure means you're confused or have lost awareness or consciousness during the seizure. This seizure type used to be called complex partial seizure. Symptoms may include blank stare or is staring into space, repetitive movements like eye blinking, lip smacking, or chewing motion, or rubbing hands or fingers. The second one is generalized onset seizures. General onset seizures affect a widespread network of cells on both sides of your brain at the same time. There are six types of generalized seizures. Absent seizures. This seizure type causes a blank stare or staring into space, aka a brief loss of awareness. There may be minor muscle movements, including eye blinking, lip smacking, or chewing motions, hand motions, or rubbing fingers. Absent seizures are more common in children and last only for a few seconds, usually less than 10 seconds, and are commonly mistaken for daydreaming. This seizure used to be called petit mal seizures. Atonic seizures. Atonic seizures meet without the tone. An atonic seizure means you've lost muscle control or your muscles are weak during your seizure. Parts of your body may droop or drop, such as your eyelids or your head. You may fall to the ground during the short seizure, usually less than 15 seconds. This seizure type is sometimes called drop seizure or drop attack. Tonic seizures. Tonic means with tone. A tonic seizure means your muscle tone has greatly increased. Your arms, legs, back, or whole body may tense or stiff, causing you to fall. You may be aware or have small change in awareness during this short seizure, usually less than 20 seconds. Clonic seizures. Clonus means fast, repeating, stiffening, and relaxing of a muscle, aka jerking. A clonic seizure happens when muscles continuously jerk for seconds to a minute, or muscles stiffen followed by jerking for seconds up to 2 minutes. Tonic clonic Tonic clonic seizures. This seizure type is a combination of muscle stiffness, tonic, and repeated rhythmic jerking, clonic. Healthcare providers may call this seizure a convulsion, and once called it a grand mal seizure. Tonic clonic seizures are what most people think of when they hear the word seizure. You lose consciousness, fall to the ground, your muscles stiffen and jerk for 1 to 5 minutes. You may bite your tongue, drool, and lose muscle control of bowels or bladder, making you poop or pee. The last one is myoclonic seizures. This seizure type causes brief, shock-like muscle jerks or twitches. Myo means muscle, clonus means muscle jerking. Myoclonic seizures usually last only up to a couple of seconds. According to the Atlantic Coast New York veterinary specialist, seizures in cats generally only last a couple minutes, although in some cases animals can experience cluster seizures where there are multiple seizures over the course of a few hours or a few days. The types of symptoms you notice in your cat if they are having a seizure will depend upon whether this seizure is generalized or partial. Signs of partial seizure include strange behavior, abnormal posture, unusual vocalizations, and drooling or twitching. Generalized seizures often, but not always, begin with behavioral changes followed by symptoms such as convulsions, loss of consciousness, chewing, twitching, salivating, and defecation or urination. Treating seizures in cats is important because recurrent seizures can lead to further brain damage, more severe seizures, or other health complications. When treating cats with their seizures, the primary focus is on the underlying cause of your cat's condition. In cases where there is no treatment available for the underlying cause, or the cause remains unknown, anticonvulsant medication may be prescribed by your vet. Also, the WCUE Animal Hospital states diseases that involve the brain directly and conditions that affect other body systems, especially the liver or the kidney disease, can cause seizures. Seizures often occur at times of brain changing activity, such as during excitement or feeding, or as the cat is falling asleep or waking up. Affected cats can appear completely normal between seizures. Furthermore, according to the pet MD, epilepsy can be characterized by having one seizure at a time or multiple clusters, and they can occur regularly or unexpectedly. It is often a symptom of a disease process with the brain, but in cats, seizures are often from an unknown cause. Epilepsy is associated with 3 stages when a cat is having a seizure. The symptoms of each stage can be different. Pre-ictal phase aura caused by a behavioral change before a seizure occurs. The symptoms of this can include hiding, attention seeking, licking lips, and head turning unusually. Ictal phase, active seizure activity. Generalized seizure, also called a grand mal seizure, similar to a human's grand mal seizure, and often lasts 1 to 2 minutes. It affects the entire body and usually causes cats to become aware of their surrounding or even lose consciousness. The symptoms of this include partial or complete collapse, jerky movements, convulsing, stiff limbs with joints locked, paddling or running movements with the legs and arms, urination and or defecation, Excessive salivation or foaming at the mouth, disorientation, often but not always, the head is tilted backwards. Status epilepticus, in particular, is a type of generalized seizure that lasts more than 5 to 10 minutes. This is a true medical emergency and requires emergency treatment. Partial or focal seizure, abnormal movements uh, localized in one area of the body. A cat is often fully awake and unaware of its surroundings. The symptoms of this can include strange or uncharacterized behavior, unusual vocalization, drooling, twitching, abnormal body posture movements, chewing, and chewing movements. Post-ictal change in behaviors after a seizure occurs / a period of time before cats act normal again. And the symptoms of post-ictal can include disorientation, pacing, lethargic, and not wanting to eat. Sorry if I messed any of that up, by the way. That was a mouthful and a really long paragraph, and I wouldn't doubt it if some parts didn't make sense, but I tried to say it as best as I can. If anybody needs it, I can put the Google Docs for the script in my description. If your OC has epilepsy, it is pretty likely you'd become a warrior. Although with your OC seizures, it might make it harder for them to complete their duties as a warrior or an apprentice. Although, if the medicine cat had trained your clanmates to notice symptoms pre seizures, your OC might be able to have their clanmates recognize when you're going to have a seizure. With that said, yes, your OC would need help from their clanmates when it comes to epilepsy. It is possible your warrior may become a deputy and a leader, although, like any disabled cat, they will struggle more than most of their other clanmates. But for the most part, epilepsy won't get too much in the way of you're a warrior. But like I said, with autism, do not disregard your disability, even if it does not get in the way of your warrior all the time. Their disability is still there, and it's still apparent. Your actions wouldn't be much different from a normal warrior's. Your OC would probably just have to avoid certain things and or situations that could trigger a seizure. Also, I know I say this with every disability, but seriously, don't do or say things that could disregard your disability. That it's just the same thing. Just don't disregard. According to the American Psychiatric Association, post traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a psychiatric disorder that may occur in people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event, series of events, or set of circumstances. And an individual may experience this as emotionally or physically harmful or life threatening, and it may affect mental health, physical and social or spiritual well being. Examples include natural disasters, serious accidents, terrorist acts, war/combat, uh, SA, historical trauma, intimate partner violence, and bullying, and other stuff that I can't really mention on YouTube. People with PTSD have intense, disturbing thoughts and or feelings related to their experience that last long after the traumatic event has ended. They may relive the event through flashbacks or nightmares. They may feel sadness, fear, or anger, and they may feel detached or estranged from other people. People with PTSD may avoid situations or people that remind them of the traumatic event, and they may have a strong negative reactions to something as ordinary as a loud noise or an accidental touch. For a person to be diagnosed with PTSD, however, symptoms must last for more than a month and must cause significant distress or problems in the individual's daily functioning. Many individuals develop symptoms within 3 months of the trauma, but symptoms may appear late or often persist for months and sometimes years. PTSD often occurs with other related conditions such as depression, substance use, memory problems, and other physical and mental health problems. According to cats.com, Just as traumatic experiences can have long lasting effects on people, cats can be impacted in a similar way. If they experience one or more incidents where they were under a threat or in harm's way, cats might suffer from fear, stress, and anxiety that can affect their daily life. Signs of trauma in a cat can include changes in their temperament, interactions, activity, and toileting. Support for traumatized cats is based on environmental management and behavioral modification. While some cats can experience distressing events leading to behavioral problems, they do not exhibit post traumatic stress disorder, aka PTSD, in the same way humans do, as PTSD is a complex psychological disorder tied to human cognition and memory processing. However, cats may develop similar symptoms such as avoidance behavior or aggression following traumatic experiences. Common signs of a traumatized cats can include 1. Aggression. When a cat has experienced a traumatic event, this can make them more prone to displaying aggressive behavior. When cats feel threatened, their fight or flight response is activated. If they are unable to escape due to being restrained, cornered, or too close to supposed danger, they will resort to aggression in order to protect themselves. Traumatized cats will also have certain level of background stress that can lead to a heightened state of arousal. This can result in exaggerated responses, uh, dispro- disproportionate to the threat that is present. For example, you might approach or stroke them on the head, and this could be enough to cause the cat to lash out at you. Number 2, increased affection. Though some cats will use aggression as defense mechanisms, other cats that are going through emotional stress might go the opposite way. You might notice your cat becoming clingier and more affectionate after experiencing something distressing. They might seek out reassurance or your company and find it difficult to be alone. This is a needy behavior. This needy behavior is their way of finding some reassurance from you in order to feel more secure. Number 3, spending lots of time of hiding away. A fearful and anxious cat is likely to spend lots of time hiding away as it makes them feel safer and more secure. The urge to flee and hide is a part of their flight response to keep themselves out of harm's way. Hiding is a normal cat behavior, but it is worrying when it becomes excessive. If your cat spends most of the day in their hiding place and doesn't respond to being coaxed out gently, they are likely going through a lot of emotional distress. Number 4, hypervigilance. As mentioned earlier, emotional stress can lead to a heightened state of arousal in your cat. In addition to producing exaggerated aggressive responses, they can become increasingly vigilant about their surroundings. As to avoid any potential threats, they constantly scan the environment for danger, attuned to detecting small movements and noises, and looking for escape routes. When cats are very alert and on edge like this, you might also notice them becoming easily startled and spooked. Number 5, reduced interaction with people and other pets. A cat that has experienced emotional trauma is likely to become more withdrawn and less willing to interact with people or other pets in the family. Trying to engage them in playtime might yield little result. Number 6, altered sleeping pattern. Sleep disturbances can be seen in cats that are suffering from high levels of distress and anxiety. They are a state of restlessness and agitation. As a result, they cannot relax enough to settle down. You might find them also pacing back and forth at nighttime. Number 7, increased vocalization. Excessive meowing is a behavior that cats can show when they are feeling stressed. Meowing is mostly thought to be vocalization and is directed towards people. If your cat has become noisier, then it might be a sign that they are trying to communicate their distress to you. Number 8, loss of appetite and weight loss. A traumatized cat may be less inclined to eat. If this persists, they will lose weight and suffer from poor body condition. It is important that cats do not go for too long without eating, as few days of anorexia or little to no appetite can lead to hepa- hepatic lipiditis, fatty liver disease, which can be fatal or if untreated. Number 9, inappropriate toileting. Cats are known for being very clean animals. If you notice your cat constantly urinating or defecating inappropriately outside their litter box, then it is time to consider if they are undergoing stress of some sorts. It is important to note that cats never toilet in inappropriate areas in the house out of spite, but it can be caused by medical problems as well as behavioral issues. That is the 9 reasons or symptoms that can be shown in your cat. So if you have any add-ons, or like I said, if you want the script to go over those, let me know and I'll put it in the description. It is a guarantee an OC with PTSD will become a warrior unless they have another preventing disability, as PTSD doesn't necessarily prevent you from completing your warrior duties. Though your OC could become very overwhelmed, anxious, or nervous at certain times. Like what I said with Autism OCs, maybe make your OC a safe space somewhere. It doesn't even necessarily have to be in camp, just somewhere where they can calm down and relax. If the traumatic event was recent, your OC could be carrying more stress or anxiety with them in their daily life. Even the cause of an OC's PTSD, even if the cause of an OC's PTSD happened quite a while ago, it could still show up here and there, or some days could be more stressful than others. It really just depends on your OC and how they express their emotions. Some days, some things or tasks may seem tedious or hard to complete with your OC. PTSD could tie into a bunch of different disorders as well, so your actions or responses could tie into them. Depending on how your OC acts and or their personality, how they can act can vary. Because of this, like any other disabled OC, stray away from words and or phrases that could disregard your OC's disability. Make your actions represent your OC's heavy anxiety or stress that they may experience. The same thing goes with speech, also depending on your OC, they may have times where they get too stressed or have a panic attack, so don't disregard it. This video legit killed me, y'all. I'm so glad it's finally out. The voiceovers took so many attempts. Holy. But I hope I spread awareness and helped your roleplays. I suggest you do more research on the topics mentioned in this video to better understand your OC. Everything said in this video was based on research I personally did. I tried to be as accurate as possible, but of course, no two people and no two cats are the same. Your own research will help your roleplay to be more realistic. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said in the beginning of the video, if you have any other disabilities you want me to cover, or if you have any critiques, please leave them in the comments below. Also, sorry that I didn't do subtitles. This video was getting like 27 minutes long, and I was not about to do 27 minutes of subtitles. I'm sorry for my laziness, but I was saving myself the trouble. It's almost 2 a.m. Anyways, that's all. Zombies out.